Hi folks, watercolour for you now before I get back into my real raison d'etre, which is oil painting in the very loose style that I have been doing. This is on the reverse side of one I don't like, so I'll wet that in a minute, but I just want to show you how I've got this set up. This is my oil painting setup. Bit of greaseproof paper, got a wide piece of plywood here I've had for donkey's years on another smaller table underneath, all clipped on, so I've got a lovely working space in front of me. I don't need to hold a palette, and I can just add to the paint as I want. Brushes all to the side, so there's it's about 4 foot long, probably about 3'6", 3'6" to 4 foot, or over a metre long and about 18 inches deep. Lovely to have. Pretty stable. And then I just got my board, got a couple of pins nailed on the back, into the back panel pins or veneer pins. And this is, I never know what this is called, I just called it the support holder, and I just put it on there over the oil painting. I hope that when I reclip, put my fingers or my arm in the oil paint underneath. There we are. So quite stable, and got the medium Ron Manson hake rigger and a large hake. Whether I use another brush remains to be seen. So I'll wet this all over, and while that is sort of soaking in, I'll find my paints, which are in a big drawer on my desk in a document case, like a Ziploc bag, which I bought a pack of them. They're very good and they're quite cheap, and they're very effective putting your palette in overnight on a piece of toweling or something that holds water and keeps it all nice and moist. Right, let that soak. Go to my drawer. There's my palette in the in the Ziploc bag, and I'll just unzip it. Take it out of there, and there we are. Cadmium yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, night red, ultramarine, burnt umber, paint spray, and burnt sienna with a dollop of gouache, white gouache, which I might or might not use. Right, now that's expanding now, so got to be careful where I put my brushes, because I don't want to put them in the oil painting. Although I do use this rigger for a bit of oil painting in the detail, or detail in the oil painting, but I leave them in soak for a few hours in a solution of washing powder, and it's wonderful. So I'm not using any toxins with the oil. That's all odour free, linseed oil, boiled linseed oil, and I'm going to get a litre of this boiled linseed oil and do what somebody suggested and get some dry sand, I think silver sand, put it in the bottom of the whatever I'm going to use to pour it in, and he said within 2 weeks the oil is clear, and it's just pour it off, and well, there you go. So there we are. You learn something every day. Right, watercolours. Back to watercolours. I'll do a woodland scene, but I want to just get a sky in first. Let's turn it around the right way. There are so many palettes on the market, and all I've used is it's a smaller version of what Ron Ranson used to use. He used to use the big butcher's tray. This is a much smaller one, food display tray. And very cheap, packs of 2. I've got about 4 of them, and you can have different palettes set up on them. Right, let's have a bit of blue. A lot of this is going to be covered up because I'm going to go quite high with this, with the trees. I hope. I'll put a bit of water in, like along the path or something. That's my idea. Now, a bit of dark, so a bit of ultramarine and a bit of light red. And there you go. Make sure it's all nicely mixed. So we'll just put a bit of that in there. Being right-handed because I sweep from right to left. Right, now while that's wet, I'm going to get some ultramarine and a bit of alizarin. And just waft that in. There's some detail behind the path. Just give it a cooler appearance of background so that what you put over it will can look a bit distant. Just gives a bit of distance. So let's just put something there. Oh, we can have this. Right. So a bit of cad yellow. Oops. Clean the brush. A bit of cad yellow and a bit of alizarin. And we'll just. Ooh, too much yellow. Probably overdone that, but never mind. Okay, I'm going to reclip it and give it a dry now. That's all I'm going to do for the sky. You see how simple the skies can be with a hake. Oops, come on, unhooked. That's better. So when I do the oil painting later, I can just move the board, squeeze out what I need, and away I go. Keep it simple, stupid. Oh. My oil painting seems to be going down very well. I did get 4 unlikes yesterday, probably because a few people are a bit cheesed off that I'm not doing many watercolours, but my channel. Right, that's all nice. So let's just dry it off. Okay. Right, I'm going to put a path in now, just to remind me that there's a path rather than a river. So just a bit of light red and a bit of that mix, bit of ultra, and then just okay, that'll do. This is a fabulous paper. This is the Saunders Waterford. Absolutely gorgeous paper. £90 it does all this. The effects that I get in the sky, you might admire them, you might not, but if you do, you see how easy they are to do. It's if you overwork them, you can get. When you do it, you realise just how easy it is to do a basic sky. I only do basic skies. But I love doing them. Now let's start to texture now. Contrast, light and dark, and texture. So we'll let's use a small hake for that. A bit of texture. Let's get some in. A bit of foreground, a nice bit of yellow there. Going spare. Let's a bit of Payne's grey, bit of yellow. These paints are all soft at the moment because they're new out of the tube, or fairly new. Now we'll I'll try to keep the sides a bit different. So I'm mixing a bit of Payne's grey with a bit of see how rough that is. A bit of burnt sienna. Nice warm colours. And if you put a bit of Payne's grey in the foreground, it keeps your eyes sort of above the painting, which it tends to anyway. Don't want it too dark, but or too sparkly. Right, let's get a nice bit of yellow in, a bit of green in now. So a bit of yellow, bit of ultra. And let's put that over the back there. And we'll have a bit of warm in there, nice bit of ultramarine. Right. This paper doesn't lift out of the card anywhere near as easily as the Fabriano £130 studio paper. There's a bit on the other side now. Let's go from the back. A bit of blue in the mix here. Blue. And some burnt sienna. This is nice and warm, and we put some darks over that. Why did I do that? I let that dry in. I'll put a bit of background on there. I forgot that was a bit wet. Right, so let's have a bit of blue and a bit of Payne's in the background here. Payne's grey is a great mixture with the ultramarine. It cools the ultramarine down, and it gives a distant feel to the background. Now remember that you don't need a lot of pressure on your hake. Put too much on, too much water will come out of it and flood. If it's too dry, the brush, it doesn't sort of register. It skates over the high spots. Let's get that. Go one higher there. Eyes higher. Okay. Put a bit of warmer autumny background to some of this in here. Bit of alizarin. Let's try a bit of alizarin. And a bit of burnt sienna. Go away. Done that so far when we're demonstrating. Right, okay, let's get some. I'm getting too much symmetry there, or too much the same. So if I just change the colour, so I'll change the. When I put the trees in, I'll alter it then. I want to make one side dominant. Otherwise, you go from one to the other, and it's monotonous. Yeah, a bit of burnt umber, and a bit of alizarin on the shadow side. This is all sort of undergrowthy stuff here. Bit of murk. Okay, right now, get back to, I'm going to dry that, and then I'm going back to the hake, the big hake. think that side there is better than that side, so I'm going to just change that, put a bit of that warm greeny colour or that sienna-y colour. Filling some of those holes. Okay, right. I've got my big water pot on the side on my right, and I've got it on a piece of toweling so that I can take some of the water off the brush as I go along. And I'm going to have to put a new bit of cloth under it because it's sopping wet. So bear with me a minute. So that way, put that somewhere over the corner to dry. Missing the ultramarine. If you're a sort of fairly new a beginner to watercolour painting or any sort of painting, your palette, you can have the Impressionist palette if you like with about 20 colours on, but you've got to know how to use them and how to mix them. So the best thing is to keep them simple. Keep simple palette. My palette's I've been using for 35 years since I first come across Ron Manson. Just a basic palette. You can do everything with that. You don't need to ready mix greens because you can make them with the ultramarine or with your Payne's grey. You can modify them with the burnt sienna, but you learn these things over a long time. You're not going to pick it up immediately. However good you or however much ability you might have, you've still got to learn the basics. And the hake is probably the easiest brush to use. I've found anyway. In my I'm on AV. Right, so let's put in a few trees. So a bit of Payne's grey, a bit of ultramarine, and a bit of yellow, a bit of greeny colour in it. And we can just start to put some. Try to get. Same for oil painting. I use more or less the same palette for oil paints. But although I'm doing sort of the very impressionist painting at the moment with a lot of oil, I'm still using umber, light red. I'm not using a lot of yellows or ochres or raw sienna. I'm just keeping that simple, using 3 or 4 colours at most. But then I might add a colour. But I'm used to them, and I'm used to what they can do. But I used to think that oh, if I had this colour or that colour, it solves the problem. It gets me out of a hole, but it doesn't. It just makes the hole even deeper. So you learn to use what your basic stuff is. Get to know that, and then by all means, add. Oh goodness me, I'm going to turn this off. Right, let's turn that off. I'll put it on silent. Then I'll forget to turn it back on again. Come on. Oh. That's it, mute. Should have done that at the beginning. Now I'm going to put leaves and stuff over that. But we want a bit of sort of bit of shadow. Cast shadow. And we'll do another one. Some in the back here. You can do this with the rigger, but it's, you get a much more random look with the hake. But it does so much. My old friend Fred Gillespie called in yesterday. He bought us a couple of theatre tickets for our 50th wedding anniversary a few weeks ago. He called in for Fairfield Hall in Croydon. It's been refurbed. after many years of use, and sadly the sun lounge there is at the moment is not suitable for exhibitions. We used to have a lot of, well, once a year anyway, the sun lounge with Carshalton and Mornington Art Group and Croydon Art Group. They're a very good society. And Fred is one of the best watercolours you'll ever see. He's 85 now, just had a pacemaker fitted. Brilliant engineer, brilliant everything he does. And if you Google, well, I'll put on YouTube a link on Sharon's comment on, I think it was on Autumn Leaves, the oil painting. There's a link there to Fred's gallery on Google. Otherwise, Google it. But he's a terrific painter, and he doesn't take a long time doing them. But he does put a lot of detail in. Very good. He's good all round. He's good at everything, John Fred. He made the boom for my camera. Okay, let's move on blue now. There's a bit of blue there. It's just in the background. Too blue. It's all getting lost. And I'll just put in a little bit of that. But you've got to do it when the paper's dry. Otherwise, it'll just go muddy. Oh, there we are. So that's okay. I'll do a few more on that side. Let's just anchor those. Bit of Payne's grey and just dot that in. I've had a number of exhibitions with Fred and groups over the years. If you're making progress, or even if you're a beginner but you've gone some way along the path, find a local art club. The bigger the better, because collectively they'll be able to afford to hire venues for group exhibitions in libraries, church halls, that sort of thing. And it's not and you might think you can't paint, you're not good enough, but that's not true, because that's where you are now. And if you stay with it, it's where you're going to be in 10 years, 5 years time. Go right off the screen here. Big one. Remember to taper. Some going out, some coming down. I'm going to use the rigger for some of this, because it's quite labour intensive, just doing it all with a hake, because what you want is some of these branches. I'm just using palette grey here. And being a rough paper, you need a fair bit of water to start to run. Alright, let's get one. Just have some branches sticking out all over the place. Some coming the other way. Try and get a devil bagel on. Panes, blue, yellow, bit of green. water. Okay, that'll do for that one. And we'll, so that one's coming down a bit further into this here. Get the hake out again and do another one. Green, bit of green. I'm going to go into a couple of trout on the barbecue in a minute when I've seen this one off. It's a bit cold, but it's a beautiful day. It's very sunny, but cold. But it doesn't matter because I won't be out that long. I'll just light the gas on it and get a tray in there with a bit of oil on. And put a bit of salt and pepper on the and flour on the fish. Oh, lovely! That's for our lunch. Might even have one of my homemade beers. Well, I will. Then I won't feel like doing anything this afternoon. Okay, now we'll do a bit of the old blue behind there, and we'll think about how we're going to put the foliage in and detail it a bit. Alright, blue, touch of pains. This hake sort of goes in a little curve at the end, instead of dead straight. They all behave differently, but they're not expensive. They do so much. Right, get that blue colour and just dot that in behind. Right, I'll change the hake and I'll go and put some bit of darker stuff on that the background. And I'll put in some of this. But I'll do that later because it's a bit wet now. So it just gives that impression of distance. Cool colours come forward, recede. Warm colours, reds and browns, come forward. The more blue, the further away it is. Can you put a few bits of heavier stuff in? I'll just muck a bit in there, a bit of undergrowth. So there we are, we've got quite a nice background now. Maybe just a few bits of twigs up here into the canopy. And if you want, you can always put a bit of ivy going up the tree. Right, too much is too much, so let's get this hake, the big hake. I'm going to just put washes over. I'll do a wash, so we'll have a bit of greeny autumny colour, bit of ultramarine with that. We'll just some more in there. Bit of umber, and perhaps a touch of pains. just for a bit of shadow. Well, it's very easy, just an impression. You can add a few more twigs in there when it's dry. Well, we'll dry it. And we can just come over here with some of that. You can put a bit of green in, because not all the leaves on an autumn tree are brown. They can be green as well, or yellowy green, yellow. Bit of umber. You can have a bit of blue in that umber for a bit of depth. I don't want to do too much of this, so I'm going to get a greeny colour. So I'm always dabbing the brush on that cloth both side. Let's have a bit of green. Okay. Right, I'll give that a dry. There's a bit more work in there, and I might put a figure in, but I'm not sure about that. I don't always think figures help. I watercoloured brushes yesterday in China. About £9 for the two, including postage. Super value. These are for my oil painting. 2-inch brush, 50 millimetres. Very nice. Looking forward to getting them mucky. Where's my rigger? Oh, I was going to dry, wasn't I? Right, headphones off. Okay. So if you're into oil painting and you're setting out, I've got a good setup here using greaseproof paper. You just have to tear that off instead of cleaning your nice wooden palette. Well, I've ruined mine. Well, say ruined. It's a bit of a mess now. No. But you can see how I laid the colours out. My yellow's always on the left, going round to the reds, the blue, the umbers. Always the same. So as you get into that habit, so you know where everything is. You don't have to constantly hunt for it. Right, now we'll get some darks in here. Oh, that one's got a bit of rye. Never mind. It's a demo. Just finishes it off, and it provides a skeleton or a framework for your canopy. So it justifies why those leaves are there, because you've got some twigs in there. Okay, one last little bit. Oh, well, let's have a bird. Alright, easy. Want to just put some warm darks around the base of some of these trees here. Shadow. Okay, well I'm going to let that go. No figure, I don't fancy putting a figure in. Got out of the habit. Right. Right, I'm going to well, we're going to lift you up a bit, and then I forgot the power on my battery power. Just change that and put it in a mount. Then I'll have to adjust it even more. So there we are, got a nice autumn scene. I need that will slide. I'm going to just put a bit of tape, put a bit of tape on it. Got little bits. One. Because I'll take it out of the frame and I'll photograph it. Right, well there we are. I hope you like that one. So I put all my paintings, whether on Patreon or YouTube, I put them all on Facebook on my homepage on Facebook. The Dave Usher page, a bit muddy there. But there we are. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something from it. I hope I learned something from it. See you soon. Bye bye.